Hello everybody, it's vanburman here. Welcome back to another video. In addition to the title or the main event of this video, I'm also going to be doing this as a sort of mic test for the Logitech G733 headset that I've got on right now. Just see how it performs really, and that's about it. To be honest with you, I thought it might be interesting to, maybe see if I could use this when I'm not sort of like doing my streaming or video recording. So the way we do that is by testing it while I'm doing a video recording. So in today's video, we're going to be reacting to Dreamcast Guy's reaction to the Square-Enix presentation at E3. I must admit, I haven't watched the whole of it. I've seen the quote-unquote highlights of the conference, and I know it's been widely taken quite badly, I guess might be the best way to put it. And it's very much in the same vein for Dreamcast Guy as well. Know of him, not someone that I regularly watch or anything like that. And, I'm aware, big Final Fantasy fan, of course, like many of us are. And it seems like, I mentioned this a while ago, but, there are certain things that happen that sort of are the straw that breaks the camel's back, so to speak. And I think that might be this one for him. So we'll go through it and we'll just see what he's got to say, and if, whatever thoughts I can add. So I'll play the video through, and I'll just pause it when I've got something to say, really. So yeah, let's get right into it. Angry reaction, so it's legit.
I am such a unique mix of disappointed and angry right now because of the Square-Enix press conference at E3 2021. That was a complete freaking mess. It sucked from start to finish, bumper to bumper. That thing was a complete freaking travesty, and I am just so freaking shocked at how much of a... I've seen car accidents that were more uplifting than that freaking train wreck. But let's talk about this.
So the thing that surprises me is that this is a guy that has presumably seen a lot of Square Enix press conferences, but this is the one, apparently. Nothing to do with all of the preceding years of promises and non-delivers, but this is the one, which I guess is fair enough. But let's see why. I think that's the kicker here.
Thing from just end to end and talk about why this is just such a stupid, disgraceful mess that actually seems to disrespect the fans themselves. What's up, gamers? Dreamcast Guy here.
Sorry, Dreamcast Guy, where you been for the past 2 decades? This is nothing new. I mean, I think that's the big thing for me. I know we're all on the same page, and I sort of feel for him, but we're going to see later. This is a guy heavily invested. And if you've not felt this way before, when it's all the same stuff, all pulling the same stunts that they pulled before, well, yeah, especially when it comes to some of the new games and the Marvel Avengers game, and anyway, well, let me carry on.
Here, and let's talk about this. Please like this video, subscribe, and share if you want. But now let's dig into the brass tacks.
I'm doing a video reaction, even better, Dreamcast Guy.
Square Enix doesn't care about Final Fantasy. I care about Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is my favorite franchise of all time. It's my favorite thing of anything. I have all the games translated. I've got weird versions of the games you probably haven't even heard of, like FF7 back on the NES. I've got all the soundtracks. I've got a gigantic Buster Sword. I've got the Final Fantasy freaking manga, which you probably don't even know is real. I have every version of every one of the games. And you know what? Square Enix doesn't care. They don't care because...
Once again, like you should be aware of this. If you're that invested and have bought all these different versions, you should know they don't care, because the quality is lacking and has been, like I say, for a very long time.
Square Enix just wants to find a way to monetize people in the stupidest way possible.
Oh my goodness! It's almost like he's talking about the Battle Royale game.
Let's start off with the cell phone games. Don't you guys love some mobile games? Don't you people have phones? Let me get out my cell phone. Here you go, Square Enix. Excuse my vitriolic anger, but here is my issue. Here is why I am genuinely pissed off. Square Enix does not seem to care about putting out quality content. This was a very long 35-minute, 40-minute, oh god, time's blurring together. That was like a 45-minute showcase. Absolutely everything looked like a complete mess.
Luckily, I watched the 10-minute highlights, so that did help me a little bit. I didn't waste as much time as this guy. Feel sorry for him already.
Was gigantic expansions that are coming to free from the Avengers game, which is all about Black Panther. But guess what? It looks like hot trash. They also did a 20-minute long demo for the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which was filled with cringy jokes, absolutely awful looking gameplay. Like, that game looks like just complete freaking trash because it's by a freaking Eidos again. So it's more people just working on projects. I mean,
I think this point's a little bit harsh because Eidos has made some pretty good games in its time. So I think to criticize one studio might be a little bit difficult. I will say I did watch the an extended trailer of the Guardians of the Galaxy game. It's a tough sell, I will say. Even for Square Enix's standard, it's a tough sell. So I'll give him points for this one, but generally I think that's a little bit harsh. Anyway.
Square Enix has no quality control. But you know what? Let's talk about some Final Fantasy. Because guess what? The biggest thing people have been begging for, especially the fans, the thing we've been asking for so many years is...
Oh, I know. Final Fantasy IX Remake. Please don't do Final Fantasy IX Remake, by the way. Anyway.
I want to see the classic Final Fantasies come back. Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those games are absolutely top-notch. They've aged incredibly good. Not only are they still fun, not only do they still look great, people just want them on modern consoles. I'm not even necessarily asking for a remake or a 2.5D crazy revolution.
I don't necessarily think people have been asking for this. If you wanted to play it, there are emulators, and there are other ways of playing it. But okay, fair enough.
I literally just want the games on modern consoles. I want a way to play them on my PS5, on my Xbox, on my Nintendo Switch. Give me a Final Fantasy collection. Oh, they gave us a Final Fantasy collection for cell phones. And it's absolutely terrible looking. It actually looks like complete garbage. What are they calling it? Pixel perfect. The whole idea behind it is that this is going to be a way to play the classic games again, upscaled HD, except only on Steam and mobile devices. Now, you know why that irks me? Is because that means...
But Dreamcast guy, don't you have a computer? Don't you have a Steam-capable computer that can play 2D games? And you've got a cell phone. Should you really be complaining about this? Square Enix are doing it for you, for the fans. Honestly, I don't particularly have a problem with this remaster thing for mobile and Steam. I think it's something that you could see a mile off. It's a lot easier, purely digital that way. No sort of expectation of physical media, and physical media is for this use case, I guess, for Dreamcast guy, is sort of a big thing for him. To actually have the physical copy of the games and have the soundtrack, have the books, which I understand. And I think maybe that's the bigger issue here for him. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying this particular one is one of the least egregious things I've seen in a long while. Square Enix.
Means that they went into the original code, they got those original games, and they are purposefully making the choice not to bring them to consoles. In my opinion, they showed off just an appalling amount of mobile games during this, just project after project, spin-offs, sequels, all sorts of things that are just supposed to be only on mobile and have loot crates and microtransactions and be free to play. It's just so incredibly stupid. In fact, one of the things they showed off is something I've already had a chance to...
They did also show off the Bravely Exodus game as well at the showcase, so they had got some new characters, which I'm really looking forward to having in my team, whatever they're called, squad, party, I don't know.
Play, which is the Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale game called The First Soldier. And I can say...
Okay, even though this is obviously recorded on like a GoPro or whatever, look how crappy this looks. I mean, at least... if you're gonna sell out Square Enix, put some effort into it. It looks terrible. Even for a mobile, I've seen people play mobile games that look better than this.
This because I've actually played it. This is my footage of me actually.
See how the shadows come in as you get close to it with the draw distance, and you're gonna. Oh no, I know you're gonna tell me it's only beta or alpha or some rubbish, but my God, this is how it's going to ship.
Playing it myself,
Guaranteed.
the game is a train wreck. The game just sucks. It's not fun. It
Frame
doesn't
rate as
control
well.
well. You're trying to tap the screen to shoot other players and stuff. It is just such a mess that's supposed to be part of the official Final Fantasy universe. They straight up don't care. Here's my issue with this is that beyond everything else, everything they showed today just looks so incredibly low quality, including Babylon's Fall. Remember when that was initially teased? Babylon's Fall is supposed to be like this gigantic, huge world, a mix of like archaic technology and cool new freaking sci-fi and all these like mixes of swords and magic. Well, it turns out it's going to be a live service project. One of those fantastic games that you pay $60 for to get like 1/5 of the fun, and then hopefully they get enough money.
So you could pretty much say this about a lot of games nowadays. I don't think it's not a situation unique to Square Enix. Lots of games are released as live services that never live up to expectation, like the Avengers Marvel game. We really shouldn't be surprised at this point, I don't think. And for Dreamcast Guy to project a lot of that onto Square Enix because he's upset about the lack of Final Fantasy stuff is, I'm the first one to call out Square Enix, of course, but it is rather unfair when it is an industry-wide thing. And I think, maybe on balance, he might calm down on that point, at least, I think, in the end.
To finish the project later on. I am actually mad. Like, I know I seem like I'm being goofy right now. I am upset that they just don't care. Like, if they gave even the littlest bit of effort, even if they just happened to listen to a single fan on Twitter, even if they happened to just actually look at their own sales data, they would have made.
But Dreamcast Guy, this is why they made Final Fantasy VII Remake for the fans. You all wanted it. It's going to be brilliant and amazing. And you're all clamouring for Part 5 that's going to come out in 2035. I don't know what... I have a lot of sympathy for Dreamcast Guy because I understand what he's going through. I've been through it. I went through it, luckily, a long time ago in my teenage years, so it was quite easy to process. Well, not easy to process, but it got processed, with a lot of other emotions and feelings about the world. But I don't know. Maybe it's one of those that gets much harder the older that you get. But to think that any big games company listens to you as a fan, no matter what your reach is, no matter what subscribers you've got, it never makes a difference. I've had more influence on smaller independent games through, just working with them, doing interviews or whatever, than I ever have with any of my opinions on Square Enix. And of course, why should they? I'm one out of however many million, whereas I'm maybe like one out of 30 people who have like interviewed a small indie dev, for example. But the point is, you need to realize that the sort of like the essence of Final Fantasy is not Square Enix's or Square's. They may have harnessed it in the first instance, but they don't have it anymore. And I don't know. I know we've still got a little bit of time left on this video, but it is genuinely a little bit sad to watch. I was going to start off by maybe like roasting Dreamcast Guy a bit for this, but now I'm actually watching it back, thinking about it a bit more. It is quite, it is still quite sad to watch because clearly very passionate, and and is someone who is taken for granted, whether that's been long established or not.
Some projects that people actually give a heck about. The fact that just Avengers bombed so bad, but they're still dedicating so much time to advertising it and now trying to make an even worse looking freaking game. Guardians of the Galaxy is so cringy. Every freaking line in that game, from Peter Quill to Gamora to freaking Ratchet and Groot, everybody talks like the weirdest, most bad puppet you've ever heard of. Did you people get paid?
I'm going to skip this on a little bit because we've sort of covered, he's just sort of talking about the other stuff, so I'm going to really skip ahead and we'll see if we can get to more towards the conclusion.
The embodiment of chaos, and having it as this like Dark Souls style game, that's pretty fantastic. And a retelling of the original Final Fantasy story, the original Heroes of Light. Now, I like the original Final Fantasy, that's why I own every single version of it that's ever been released. And I've always thought that that game was pretty good. It's pretty tight. It's just the idea of, heroes going against the embodiment of chaos and having it as this like Dark Souls style game. That's pretty fantastic. They're also going to be making a demo for it relatively soon, which of course I'm going to be playing. I'm sorry, I'm just putting on my glasses here for a second because part of the frustration of this, part of what just makes this just so annoying is that when you have one good thing surrounded by 40 minutes.
We can also really argue if that's a good thing or not. Should Square Enix be making a Dark Souls-esque game based on the original Final Fantasy? Where does that fit in? Anyway.
Of garbage. It makes that little morsel, that little light you want to crowd around, all that much more annoying. This was ridiculous. Like, what's weird to me is that Square Enix has so many properties. Why didn't they talk about Dragon Quest? Why didn't they talk about Chrono Trigger? Why didn't they talk about anything?
Because they don't care about JRPGs.
You guys are, in my opinion, one of the inventors of modern day RPGs. Like, straight up, of all the thousands of games on my wall right here, how many of these are made by Square Enix? Like, I can literally grab, I'm going to literally just go back here. I can, like, grab an entire fistful of amazing Square Enix games, and you just don't care. You just think that none of this effing matters. It wasn't even entertaining. Because, I've had times. Let's be clear. There's been times where it's not about disappointment. It's not just about, oh man, they didn't show the games I like. It's also just the fact that they didn't show.
It is kind of that though as well. To be fair, there's probably some people that actually really enjoyed the press conference. I'm sorry, but mainly Final Fantasy 13 fans. Sorry guys, had to.
Anything worth a damn. 20 minutes of a terrible Guardians of the Galaxy game with trash-looking gameplay and horrible voice acting and a main character that looks like Jake Paul got hit by an ugly truck. Square
How'd you make ugly even uglier? Sure, you just have to remove him from existence at that point.
Enix, what the hell are you doing? This, 2 out of 10. If I'm giving it a score right now, 2 out of 10. Square Enix, what are you doing? You know what? I'm probably going to be blocked on Twitter by the official Square Enix account. The fact that you're putting all your...
Why would the official Square Enix account block you because you didn't like their E3 press conference? Is that how minute their ego is, or how fragile their ego is, that they can't take a bit of, oh, actually no, I didn't like that for this reason and that reason? I think what he said is fair enough and pretty well echoed by a lot of people. It is worth saying he did get a fair amount of dislikes on his video at the time of recording this as well. So, clearly some people who don't agree, and I know there's lots of people who disagree with me when I speak out about different stuff that Square Enix does. It's fairly fatiguing when I get into it, of course. But yeah, I don't know. That shouldn't be something that you should be worried about. But if you want my score, I give it a square out of Enix. That's how good it was.
Classic games on cell phones before consoles. The fact that you're just trying to make Babylon fall like a freaking live service game. You don't care. And it's starting to make me wonder why the hell we should care. I guess I'm going to be playing the demo whenever the Final Fantasy Origins demo drops. It's called Stranger of Paradise or Stranger in Paradise. I'm going to play it. I'll make a video when that comes out. But until then, my God, you lost E3. I don't know what you were trying to do, but you lost E3. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give...
I'm really upset about it, but I'm still going to buy and play everything that you release because I'm not that upset. And I think that's the thing that does get to me about YouTubers especially, is that, in the preamble leading up to it, you maybe disagree with a company or its practices or how they developed a game or anything like that. It'd be a bit like if I went and played the second part of Final Fantasy VII Remake, and filmed it and advertised it and whatever else. Like, why? If you have had enough, then you need to show it in your actions, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, okay, maybe it's his job. I do get that, but if this is a bigger issue as he says he is, then it should hold true, I think. So yeah, I just wanted to bring it back full circle. Understand where the guy's coming from. I think like I say, it's something I've been through myself, through the ringer on it, and sort of maybe like disbelieving myself in terms of it. And it's nice in a way, and disappointing for him that someone else has seen similar stuff that I have, maybe a lot later to the party. And I think it's one of them. It will come for everyone in time. It just depends on whatever that, to me anyway. I think it just depends whatever that pressure point is that finally gets to you, where it's like, okay, one step too far. And Square Enix have always pushed the boundary like that, and maybe this time they've gone too far. Although, I thought that when I saw the Final Fantasy VII First Soldier Battle Royale mobile game, I thought, that's it, this is it, we've got them. And then everyone's like, oh yeah, can't wait to play it. I'm like, huh? Huh? Oh my god. you know. So yeah, real sort of mixed feelings on this one. I'll just you don't want to particularly want to see my face in full screen, but there you go. I'll do it anyway. Yeah, I just wanted to sort of bring it around. So yeah, thanks Dreamcast guy for making the video. It's been entertaining enough for me to warrant actually, or deciding to even make a video on it. So I think that's been quite good, and well, interesting enough for me anyway. And it's good to hear your take on it as well. I think it's just I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel for this in terms of more classic fans or more contemporary fans, or even contemporary fans. But yeah, it's just one of them. Companies will continue to disappoint at the press conferences, and their viability becomes less and less each year, really, the longer it goes on. So I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think, or if you did see the Square Enix conference as well. It'd be really interesting to get some other people's thoughts on it as well, not just my own and Dreamcast guys, of course. So thanks for watching. See you next time. While I'm doing that, bye for now.